It is that time again where we talk about Saiganomiya Kokomi as she is getting another rerun in Genshin Impact. However, this time with the addition of Dendro, how good is Kokomi now? Is she really good off a pull, or is she the same as usual? Anyway, with that being said, that's what we're going to talk about today. Well, how is Kokomi pull value now that the Genshin 3.0 has been released? With that being said, as always, you guys know it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and let's get started. Starting off with the current existing meta, at the current moment, Kokomi is played in mostly as a off-field Hydro applicator with a extra bonus of being able to heal as well. Her Jellyfish is able to provide AoE Hydro off-field and could be very good for free team as well as pretty decent in the Taster team. Unfortunately, that off-field Hydro is not exactly enough to be played in the Vaporize team, so that's not really a thing for Kokomi for the most part. For the most part within the meta, Kokomi is exclusively played as a off-field Hydro applicator, while her Elemental Burst can greatly empower her on-field attack as well as allow you to heal the entire team and could sometimes be used in team like Taster team. For the most part, most of the meta team only uses her Elemental Burst as a mean to refresh the duration of her elemental skill. The reason is that putting Kokomi on field is often a huge DPS loss compared to other available options that your team might be able to do. Usually putting a different character to do on-field attack is much more beneficial in terms of your overall damage, and therefore on-field Kokomi is not really that relevant in the meta. While it is playable, it isn't the primary focus of Kokomi. With that being said though, Kokomi can provide very excellent off-field Hydro application that make her really strong and really suitable in team like Freeze team or Taster team where you really care about your Hydro application. She is very often played in Freeze team due to the fact that she can provide very excellent Hydro application while also providing you healing. However, do know that she is non-essential in any of these teams. That means that she is not a must-have and you can easily replace her with other suitable Hydro applicator such as in a Freeze team like Ayato or Mona, or in a Taster team Xingqiu's. For the most part, the thing that differs Kokomi than other Hydro applicator is healing, or sometimes referred to as comfort. For the most part, most of the Genshin Impact player prefer to have at least one defensive utility when it comes to their team, just to make their Abyss run a lot smoother. But in general, if comfort or healing is not your concern, then Kokomi is definitely not required, and other Hydro applicator like again Ayato or Mona can definitely do the job fine. Kokomi do have a slightly easier time drafting a team with the exception of putting her into a Vape team. The reason is because she by default comes as a healing option as well, which means it is one less thing you have to worry about when it comes down to your team drafting process. Then by default in general she's a little bit more versatile, but again it is definitely not required. Kokomi is very far from being a must-roll or super strong powerhouse, especially compared to some of the other stronger 5-star options that you might prioritize picking up. But in general, if you do like Kokomi as a character, then it is very safe to say that she is a very solid and strong pickup that you can go for. But if you don't, then you should really value if the extra quality of life or healing is worth the however much Primo Gem you're gonna spend for you. Other 5-star Hydro applicator are definitely very competitive option as well. For example, Yelan could be used to draft double Hydro with Xingqiu's, which is one of the top tier super strong meta powerhouse core right now. Or alternatively, other character like Chao could be used to draft international team, which is still the most meta team by far today. And so you should decide if Kokomi is worth or if you should go for another different Hydro characters. But with that being said, at the current Genshin Impact meta, Kokomi is a really solid pickup, pretty much above average at a 3.5 out of 5 value rating. So with all those current bullshit out of the way, let's talk about Dendro and Kokomi, which is probably what you came to this video for. However, truth to be told, I don't think Dendro and Kokomi should be a strong consideration when it comes down to making your current pull decision. But let me explain. If you're looking to pull Kokomi for meta reason, I would heavily advise to not let Dendro make a huge part of your consideration. Then the reason is because Dendro at the current moment is just not only very unsettled, but also just not very meta changing, especially with the way Kokomi is involved in. If anything, you should make your pull based on the current information that we know about Kokomi, which to repeat is that she's a very solid pickup, especially for Freeze team and for Taster team. And as I always say, pull of future potential is strongly recommended against, since the future can change at any time. As a Hydro characters, Kokomi is used together with Dendro main character to create bloom within the Dendro meta. that. And then you can either follow that up with a Pyro to do Burgeon, or you can follow that up with an Electro to do Hyper Bloom. Unfortunately, at the current moment, while Burgeon and Bloom pure spam could have a lot of fun or potential in them, they aren't exactly the most meta thing as we currently know, and those two things are just not very strong. Hyper Bloom do have potential though, and KOKOMI could be involved into a few very decent Hyper Bloom team, such as Kazuya, Fischl's, KOKOMI, followed by DMC to do Hyper Bloom spam. Equivalently, but the Sucrose on-field version, which is DMC, Fischl's, Sucrose, and then KOKOMI. Just like her Freeze and Taser team counterpart, KOKOMI are used in these teams to provide off-field Hydro application that lets you make Bloom, in addition to also conveniently all providing you healing, which is always appreciated. The way KOKOMI is currently being functioned in a Bloom team is very unique, and to be honest, could either increase or decrease her future potential, which is why I don't really like using future potential or Dendro as a current judgment. The thing about KOKOMI is that she applied what we refer to as slow Hydro, which, while could be beneficial right now, could be huge detrimental in the future. The thing that differ Freeze team and Taser team compared to a Bloom team in terms of KOKOMI usage is that in Bloom team, your speed of Hydro application actually mattered. In Freeze team as well as Taser team, you just need enough Hydro to sustain either your Freeze or Electro charge. However, this is not the case in Bloom team, as the more Bloom reaction you can make, the more seed you can put on the ground, which allow you to do more damage in general. As KOKOMI apply Hydro relatively slowly, she could have a massive disadvantage compared to her other Hydro applicator counterpart like Xingqiu's, Gillen, or Chayo. For example, in the two team that I described it with Hyper Boom, in general, if you don't care about healing that much, then using Xingqiu's, who can apply Hydro much faster and therefore can create much more seed, is strongly preferred, as that just results in just you doing much more damage, in addition to the fact that Xingqiu's is just overall a better damaging character than KOKOMI. Now, I think one of the things that I strongly disagree is pulling for KOKOMI based off quote-unquote future unknown potential, especially if you're hoping that she will get better with future release of Pyro slash Dendro slash Electro character to get more Bloom team, like more Burgeon team or more Bloom spam team. The thing is that while it is true with future release of character, we can see KOKOMI being used more in certain Bloom team, you can alternatively also see it the other way around, which is when we get more Dendro characters that are better Dendro applicator, or more Hydro characters that are better and more suitable for Bloom reaction, then KOKOMI usage will be outclassed by those as well. One of the things that differ KOKOMI than other Hydro applicator right now is that she applied Hydro slowly, which is actually beneficial to some degree, as our current Dendro applicator are not fast enough to keep up with the fast Hydro applicator right now. But that also means whenever we do get a fast Dendro applicator, things could dramatically change. We could much prefer to use the faster Hydro applicator like Chayo or Yelan, and so future potential could go up but could also go down, and it's why I heavily recommend against rolling your decision based off quote-unquote future potential, because you just don't really know about it. While Dendro definitely opened up a few more teams for KOKOMI, either for fun team like really fun Bloom spamming team or pretty solid Hyper Bloom team, I would say that if you're pulling for meta reason, then they shouldn't be your primary focus right now, since they aren't exactly the most meta thing, especially compared to the other more meta team that we have right now like International. But there's just too many unknown factors regarding Dendro, like either in the futures or even currently. If you were to roll KOKOMI because of Dendro reason though, your reason for rolling for her would be the exact same as Freeze and Taser team, however, which is the fact that she can do off-field Hydro application in addition to conveniently also bring you healing. Let's take a look at the Hyper Bloom team for example. You'll quickly realize that if you do strongly care about healer option, then replacing KOKOMI could be difficult. For example, let's look at the Anemo slot. Right here, our main choice is Sucrose, Venti, and Kazuya, which each provide their own unique utility. While you can use the Anemo slot for a healer like using either Sayu or Jin, you realize that the amount of utility and damage they can bring is nowhere close. Sucrose, Venti, and Kazuya can just do so much more compared to Jin for example. The same pretty much go with our Electro slot. Replacing Fischl here with someone like Kuki, while can bring you healing, it is just a huge amount of DPS loss or opportunity cost to bring that. Unfortunately, we don't have a Dendro healer, so the Dendro slot isn't even a consideration right now. And to be honest, even in the futures, I highly doubt a good Dendro healer will come out, simply because, well, I will be very hard to imagine a Dendro healer that can also provide a really good amount of Dendro application would exist, at least for now. So our only actual slot that we could kind of freely bring right now is the Hydro slot, where Kokomi is a known pretty decent Hydro applicator, not as good as one like Xingqiu's, but she conveniently also bring a healing as well. So Kokomi just worked perfectly fine as a healer in this case, and if you prefer a healer, it will probably be difficult to find a better option than Kokomi. So once again, if you were to roll for Kokomi for Dendro in terms of meta reason, then your reason of rolling Kokomi would be the same as if you're deploying her for a free scene, which is you much prefer the quality of life or comfort that Kokomi can bring over other Hydro characters like Xingqiu's that can bring you more damage and more Hydro application. In general, the main question you should ask yourself before pulling for Kokomi, other than do you like her character design or not, is how much do you value the healing or quality of life that Kokomi can bring, and how much primo are you willing to spend on that? Or would you prefer to have different Hydro characters like Elin or Chayo? Those are the questions only you can answer, and so in general, the reason to pull for Kokomi would be different for everyone. Once again, while she is a pretty solid above average pull compared to the rest of the Genshin Impact roster, she's definitely very far from a must-roll, not strictly a super strong Hydro powerhouse either, and so one could roll her if you have the right reason to do so, but definitely could skip her as well. And please don't feel pressure to roll because you heard that she's really good with Dendro or something like that, because I don't think you should be basing your pull decision off based on Dendro at all, to be very honest. But with that being said, that is pretty much it for the Kokomi rerun, especially about how Dendro kind of changed her. Hopefully that kind of answered your question and hopefully you made up your mind a little bit, and if you're rolling her, then congratulations, hopefully you have a good roll, and if you're not, then well, that's fine. With that being said, as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.